Two more victims of diversity.
These two stories came up back to back together. 22-year-old German student randomly stabbed to death by Afghan migrant. The parents of a 22-year-old university student, Marius Dick, who was stabbed to death by a 22-year-old Afghan migrant identified as Sajad M. in Trier, Germany, are calling for political action. Won't go anywhere. They no longer feel safe and want to prevent another family from suffering the same tragedy. Yeah, that's what the mother of Louis wanted, right? Remember that? Remember Louis, the French 17-year-old boy that was
More stabbings every week.
beaten to death by a bunch of North African migrants? Enough? Yeah, here's another one. Add this to the pile. According to police, Marius was a random victim, as it always is. As it always is. It's always completely random because we don't know Afghan migrants, okay? We're not first name basis with Ahmed, right? We don't know these people. They just go out with violence in their minds and just wait until they get someone's eye contact. Oh, that's a bright sweater. I'm just gonna follow them and kill them eventually. They literally spot you and then they're like, you're my victim. You're my victim today. You're my victim. And they won't f off. It's like you. And then you can't get rid of them. It's always random. They literally they grab their machetes, they grab their knives, they walk out into these beautiful European cities and they just look around and they wait for someone to give them eye contact and they're like, yo, and then they kill you. So here's another one. He had just finished shopping and was walking home when the suspect attacked him with a kitchen knife, stabbing him at least twice in the upper body. Despite immediate resuscitation efforts, he later died in hospital. This guy was just out shopping. Do you think when this guy got dressed in the morning and he put on his clothes and he ate his breakfast and he said goodbye to whoever he's living with and he made his way to the shopping center, do you think at any point he was like, I could die today? No, we don't expect it. You know, we're supposed to be living in these affluent, advanced European white.
It's not supposed to happen. Used to be that Europe was incredibly safe, that you could just go around walking at night anywhere in the country. That was Europe. Now that's not Europe.
Civilizations. And instead, you're being randomly knifed to death by a guy you don't know because they are here to invade. They are invaders, and their reason for existing on these lands is to do that. It is so unbelievably consistent. It's so unbelievably frequent that mainstream media won't even report on it. It happens so often, so frequently, and they are.
I agree. The reason this happens is that mainstream media doesn't fulfill its function. It doesn't report on any of these crimes, and so the public is completely unaware. And I actually want to take a quick break from this to look at a couple of examples of what life looks like now in Europe. This is just some stuff I found on Twitter. Lad gets beaten up in the back of a taxi. Violence everywhere now. This attack went on for ages with no sign of police. Lawless Britain. This is Birmingham, UK.
Is he moving?
See, this goes on and on. So that's one example. This one is really shocking, and it's really recent too. Machete attacks, machete violence.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh please, stop it! Oh my, they got fucking knives!
Look at that.
Oh, this is just
Not just one person with machetes, several with machetes.
bullshit.
Machete violence, right in, where is this? Manchester, United Kingdom. Machete violence on the streets. That didn't happen 20 years ago.
Welcome to Britain, guys. Welcome to England. This is the shit that we put up with day in and day out.
Yeah.
Look at what we fucking brought in. Look at it.
Yeah.
Look at the state of it. He's fucking bleeding. He's hit round the head. He's going to get back in.
Two men dressed as fake delivery riders try to break into someone's house in Benfleet.
So it's a delivery for David?
No idea, man.
What's your name?
Reese.
Reese?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm fairly
You sure?
Yeah.
Push it.
Yeah. Isn't that fun? So do you want these people in your country? Oh, and this is Birmingham, UK. No white people in the video. Like I said, I want to go to France and see French people, see French culture. I want to go to Germany, see German people, German culture. I want to go to the UK and see British people, British culture. I don't want to go to the UK and see this. If I wanted Africa, I'd go to Africa. This is just insane. By the way, it's only one way. Africa isn't getting whiter. It's just Europe that's getting blacker. And a century more of this, 2 centuries, Europe is black. There's no white people. It's basically, it's ethnic replacement. It's genocide. It's just as much as what Israel is doing to Gaza. It's completely, culturally taking over a land, replacing the people, replacing the culture. It's a destruction of Europe, of Western Europe, because these people, they don't have Western values. You replace the British, French, the Germans, you don't have Western values in Europe anymore. Europe has fallen. Man, 35, was stabbed in a machete attack on the street of South London, dies a week later. UK. That didn't used to happen.
What?
Cultural enrichment in Birmingham, UK, United Kingdom. A mother tried to take her child to school, encounters an armed foreign invader wielding a machete. This is England now.
Doing? Yeah, carry on. Fucking no. Fucking dickhead. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Because I never dropped mine, but 4, 2, 6, and 4.
This is Ireland, but I included too.
Yo.
Africans flexing brand new houses in Dublin while native Irish get fucked all and are left homeless on the street. They're coming because they keep on, these governments in Europe keep on giving tons of free shit to them. And I know people, Westerners who are waiting for visas for months and don't get service, whereas these people, they get given free houses, they get fast-tracked through all immigration, what's the other one, asylum claims, everything gets fast-tracked, and they get free houses.
I ain't even got time. I make bangers, I never drop mine, but 4, 2, 6, and 4, fun time. I try holding a chick long time, but she don't even love me. She not mine, man's like, you okay? I'm not fine. I'm not rolling with no one.
Group of Muslims storm McDonald's in UK, scream Allahu Akbar and declare it haram. People, leftists always talk about people coming in and assimilating. No one ever changes their religion. You bring in people from Muslims, they never become Christians. And a lot of them aren't willing to coexist. Fight erupts Piccadilly Guard in Manchester. This place I visited often when I lived in London. Yes, just what London needs. Foreigners fighting in the central of London. This one, I'm not going to play the video. It's woman brutally smashed in the face with a brick in Belfast, Ireland. Yeah, it's really disturbing video. Another day in UK, another machete fight in the street in broad daylight. Diversity is our strength. So I just want to show you some of the stories that the mainstream media never covers. What he's talking about here. Those are just what I could find in 15 minutes.
Constantly the perpetrators that mainstream media literally won't report on. If mainstream media actually reported on every single one of these scenarios as they happened, there would be outrage throughout Europe. Mainstream media is complicit in not allowing the general public to know what is happening.
It's not only complicit, it is the main reason. If the mainstream media functioned normally, none of this shit would have happened. It's an enabler. It is the key point.
The amount of stories, the amount of murders at the hands of migrants that we know of because of social media, because of X, is absolutely outrageous. We have to go through social media to learn what the fuck is actually happening in the world. There are people that don't use X, which is a lot of people in the UK. I would say the vast majority of people in the UK do not use X, okay? They occasionally use Facebook, and that's it. They are not aware of this. They don't know about the migrant gangs. They don't know about it. They don't know about the rape gangs. Mainstream media just hasn't told anyone about it. They don't know about all of these terrorists from the Middle East that are being allowed into the country. They don't know about this. They don't know about Henry Novak. They don't know about the amount of immigration into the UK. They don't know about Border Patrol bringing them in and making sure they make it to shore safely. They don't know about the millions of pounds that are going towards the neighborhoods to keep them nice and safe while the rest of us get stabbed. They don't know about Stephen Ogilvy. They don't know. They know nothing. The mainstream media is responsible for keeping people ignorant of what is actually happening. So whenever they, the general public, are exposed to people like me because they've not been shown that there's a massive problem, well, we're just bigots and racists. We're unnecessarily hateful. Where is this coming from?
Where is this coming from? It's this is how I felt 10 years ago. Well, not bigot and hateful, but in terms of what I knew and trying to have a conversation with a normal person, I was on such a different page it was impossible. And that's essentially this phenomenon here too. Trying to have a conversation with someone who gets their information from mainstream news for someone like Jacob Monroe is just as painful as it is for me.
Why is he talking about that kind of stuff? It's getting so bad now that these people, the proles, as Orwell referred to them as, even they in their streets can see this is happening because the frequency is so high. They're actually seeing it happen in the streets. Please say the suspect and victim did not know each other. Again, Marius's mother, Elk.
And if you doubt what he's saying, just subscribe to his channel and or glance through his video. He covers it every time there's an attack like this, and he covers practically a video a day.
Said something like this should never happen to any mother. She spent the first night after his death in her son's room to feel close to him. Together with her husband, Thomas, she has joined the criminal proceedings as a civil party, saying, "We will be present at the trial. We owe that to Marius." Fun fact, the Afghan migrant that stabbed Wayne Broadhurst to death for absolutely no reason. Also another situation where Wayne Broadhurst did not know his murderer. Sorry, his manslaughterer. Didn't know him. Didn't know the Afghan. The Afghan just saw a guy walking his dog and was like, "You!" Stabbed him to death. So you guys know that he was given a manslaughter charge for murdering Wayne Broadhurst. Okay, so whenever this Afghan guy started his rampage that ultimately ended with him stabbing Wayne Broadhurst to death, it started with him attacking his Afghan landlord with a knife. Not killing him, just attacking him with the knife, okay? He injured an Afghan migrant landlord who owned the building that this Afghan migrant was living in, okay? He attacked him with a knife. Do you know what happened in court about that? That's right. He was found guilty, and I can't believe that. I don't even know how this makes any sense whatsoever. He was found guilty of attempted murder. What?
Two-tier police system. You're white, you get harsh sentence. You're not white, you get a lenient sentence. Oh, but if the victim is not white, then there's a harsher sentence too. So that migrant that did this attack, his mistake was attacking a non-white, and that's why he got this attempted murder charge.
What the? So him stabbing Wayne Broadhurst, a white guy, to death was manslaughter. Him wounding his Afghan landlord, his Muslim landlord, with a knife was attempted murder. So if he had killed the landlord, it would have been murder. Chris, thank you so much for the 50.
The influencers don't understand that their way of life is toast if they keep bringing these people in. These Joy Core channels, who are mostly liberal, have no idea. It's sickening.
Yeah.
It's only going to get worse because more people keep coming in and coming in and coming in. The lawlessness I showed you in videos, that'll be everywhere soon. There won't be the safe neighborhoods anymore. Unless you're the ultra-rich 1% that lives in that can hire your own private security.
All these, goddamn Chris, thank you so much for the 50.
You import people from violent third world countries, and a lot of them aren't going to be right in the head because if you're from a violent war-torn country, war tends to create mental illness. Seeing horrible things like decapitation, that scars someone. The guy who attacked just like 2 weeks ago, The guy in Belfast, UK, he then tried to behead him. He came from a part of the world where they do beheadings. It's the cycle of violence. You do not import people from low-trust, violent third-world societies, and not only just a few, but legions of them, so that, to the point where they form their own communities and start having gang violence against each other, wielding machetes. You don't do that, and in the first world countries, it destroys everything. You import the third world, you become the third world.
All these people that want to maintain this, like, oh, I don't like to get into politics. I just want to kind of keep it, neutral. And two things. One, as long as you
No, it's, the suicidal empathy is people wanting to think they're good people and not racist. And so it means bringing in murderers and overlooking murderers and giving someone who stabs a white person to death a manslaughter charge instead of, a murder charge. That second-degree murder charge, it should have been. Definitely it wasn't premeditated, but still, it should have been murder.
Remain non-political, the problem will persist. And two, by keeping it neutral, you are still a fascist as far as leftists go, okay? Leftism demands that you are on their side. Someone who is not strictly left or right and wants to remain neutral is a as we know. Look, I get it. There's so much to learn, okay? There's so much to find out about. And this stuff sucks, okay? You think I like to sit here?
That's another thing. The reason it's hard to reach anyone is because there's a lot of people that don't want to look at nasty stuff. They don't want to look about stabbings or look about the grooming gangs and what was happening to young girls in the UK. But that means they purposefully keep themselves uninformed because the media isn't going to tell them. But it's terrible. And so they will ignore, you try to show them an X post, there's violence in it? Oh, I can't look at that. Open migrants are all great and friendly and nice, but I won't look at all your posts showing them murdering people and committing violence and fighting each other with machetes. I won't look at that, but they're all great people.
Reading about more white murder at the, completely random, unprovoked attack. This guy had zero chance of surviving. Zero chance. Unless this guy lived every single day of his life waiting for a random attack from an Afghan, there was no way this guy was going to survive. There was nothing he could have done. He's not allowed to own a gun. He's not allowed to walk around with a knife. He's not allowed to walk around with pepper spray. He can't walk around with a weapon. Okay? So the most he can do is wake up, like every one of us in Europe, and walk around and hope we don't get murdered. This shit sucks to read. Being the person in real life that knows about all this sick, awful, disgusting shit that nothing ever gets done about sucks. But you have to engage with it. We are living in a Europe that is totally invaded. And it's invaded by a culture that despises us at a religious level.
Not all of them, but a big part of them. And the problem is the part that don't like us are convert the others. It's since they're not assimilated, they're in their own enclave. The radicals radicalize the rest of them, and that's how you get machete fights in the street.
The spiritual level, they hate us, and they're here for free cash. They're here for free food. They're here for free housing. They're here for all the free shit. Okay, they're here for the government.
The amount of free shit migrants are getting is insane, and I tell you, the visa thing, just someone I know is right now having a problem with visas, has been waiting for months for a visa. And when I know that the guy who tried to behead the man in Belfast was fast-tracked his asylum claim, and he was given a free apartment. It's just such a double standard.
That lets them get away with everything. That doesn't stone them to death for adultery or drinking or murder or theft. They're here for the free ride, for the lenient law system. They're here for the cattle, the idiot white people that just shuffle around, completely oblivious that we're all potential victims. That's why they're here. And we as Europeans are walking around blissfully unaware that they're here to do damage. And at any point, you could be randomly stabbed to death by a guy you don't know and probably didn't even see coming because he came up behind you. All the while, our weapon laws, our self-defense laws, have not been updated in like 70 years. So even though the safety of our streets...
It's worse than that. Some of the migrants get exceptions from the weapons law. Some of the migrants are allowed to carry blades. That's how Henry Novak died. The Sheikh, it's part of their culture to carry a curved basically short sword or a really long knife, if that's part of the culture, they're allowed to do it. If you're a British person, you're not allowed. No, you can't have a knife, but the migrants can have knives. And that's why Henry Novak is dead.
Has changed drastically in the last 20. Our self-defense laws, our weapon laws have not changed in like 65 years, 70 years. Carrying pepper spray, illegal. Carrying a knife, illegal. Carrying a gun, super-de-duper illegal. We are sitting duck. We are soft, squishy targets with absolutely no way to defend ourselves. And they know it. They know this. There is no legal way for us to defend ourselves with a weapon. We can't even carry a weapon. Even carrying one with the intent of self-defense is enough to land you in prison for 4 years. You don't think your life is f***ed up in 4 years? The debt that you'll rack up in 4 years, your credit scores in the toilet, you've got a criminal record, you're an ex-con, your friends have moved on, your wife or girlfriend has probably moved on, you have to start like trying to rent a place as an ex-con. People are like, well, 4 years isn't so bad just to defend yourself. 4 years? That's inside. The amount of damage it
Oh,
does to
that's
your
terrible. The amount of hardworking British people are just arrested for hate speech because police show up at your apartment. Why? Well, this post, but that's the truth. That happened. The neighbor was raped. But it's hateful. It'll make people hate migrants. So we need you to delete the post, and we're going to arrest you. And that's why 10,000 people a year are being arrested in UK for posts for just speaking the damn truth.
life lasts longer than 4 years. Trying to get your life back on track after just 4 years? We're walking around as soft, squishy targets that can be stabbed to death at any moment by an imported bioweapon. There's nothing we can do. Even if this guy saw the Afghan running at him and he ran away or he tried to run away, we've seen how the police reacted. There was a video clip we watched recently from Scotland of a bunch of guys being approached by migrants with machetes, and they tried to flag the police down, being like, "Hey, these guys have machetes. They're going to kill." And the police just drove on as intended. That's exactly what.
Yeah, the police. They're trained to treat white people as second-class citizens in the UK. It's insane. And if you doubt me, just look at the videos. Look at Henry Novak's death, where they handcuff the white boy who's dying on the ground from like 5 stab wounds. Or just look at the video just from the other day where you have a guy who gets sucker punched 2 times. And then, after he gets sucker punched, a policewoman like rams him, like tackles him against a wall. I mean, she doesn't go after those who were punching him, those who were initiating the violence. She attacks who were black. She attacks the white guy. She tackles the white guy. That is how the police are trained in the UK.
What we want. Good. They're coming at you with machetes. Great. That's why they're here. Family is demanding real solutions so that something like this never happens again. This, and I hate to break your hearts about it, and I say this every time this happens, this is going to happen again. There will be another European white man on this screen and me talking about him being randomly stabbed to death. This is going to happen again. There is another white European man or woman walking around out there right now, not knowing that they're about to be randomly, savagely, brutally stabbed to death for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and there's nothing they can do about it. It's going to happen again. Marius had just completed his final history.
I just want to show this for someone who isn't aware of it. This is a perfect example of 2-tier police system. Just look at this guy, white guy there. He gets tackled there. Then sucker punch there. Then the policewoman comes in there, tackles him against a wall. You see that? Look at that again. Close line there. Sucker punch there. And who does the police go after? The white guy. And he gets arrested. It's not going to show him that he actually gets arrested.
Exam and was about to graduate from University of Trier with a bachelor's degree before beginning a master's program in military history in Potsdam. The Afghan suspect fled after the attack, but was arrested a short time later. He has admitted carrying out the stabbing, but has otherwise remained silent. A court has ordered his placement in a secure forensic psychiatric hospital. A psychiatric hospital. Because we're constantly confused as to their mental...
Afghanistan is a war-torn country. Of course, people from there are going to have psychiatric damage to their head. That doesn't... Why do we have to pay for that? Why do we have to not only pay for the psychiatrics, we have to pay in blood with the innocent people knifed to death. Then we put them and pay for the psychiatric care on top of it. No, they shouldn't even be in the country.
State. We're like, why are these? There's so many of them are psychotic. No, that's just how they are. That's indoctrinated Islam, okay? They turn out nuts. Comparative to white Europeans, yes, they do seem like they're going through some very serious psychiatric problems, but that's actually just how they are as a culture.
It's a war-torn, Afghanistan is a war-torn country. So judging Islam based on people coming from Afghanistan or some regions of Pakistan, like the grooming gang stuff, you're judging from the worst of the worst. And that's leftist faults. The people that the worst of the worst are coming here for free shit and committing horrible crimes, and that's making people racist. Because all they have exposure to is the worst of Islam. The Africans are coming in, they're violent, they're attacking each other with machetes. If you're a white person in Britain, your only exposure to people of color is seeing black people fight each other with machetes on the streets. That makes people racist. Leftists, no one's making the world more racist than leftists with their out-of-control migrations from third world countries.
Sure. It's like, wow, this guy just went nuts. He's just not in control of his actions. He doesn't know what's going on. We have to get him into... Yeah, if this was a white guy, sure. Yeah, you put him into some sort of psychiatric institution. They're going to be like, yeah, this guy's brain's up. This is just how they are. They're all like this. Like, wow, yeah, it's just... He doesn't know what's going on. He's barely talking. He's a barely verbal, violent brown... Barely verbal. The only thing they know how to...
And Jake Monroe is the best example with this. I don't think he's had any good interactions with non-whites. And yeah, he's holding back. You see it sometimes in his talking that he actually thinks they're all savages. I've been to places like a black that's grown up in Greenwich, Connecticut, and privilege and wealth acts indistinguishably from a white boy that's grown up in Greenwich, Connecticut, in privilege and wealth. The problem is poverty and the culture that surrounds ghettos, and they're from outside the country, that they're usually not from peaceful places. And people that grow up, if you're poor, you're more likely to violence and crime. And if you've been surrounded by violence and crime, you're more likely to violence and crime. And so you add those two together, the migrants coming into Europe are 10x or more times more likely to commit the violent stuff, crimes, and that's the reality. So if you want a safe Europe, you have to stop it.
To do is just stab. They're animals. It's low IQ, low impulse control, religious hatred that they carry with them. Not only are there...
And there is the religious extremist component to it. I will add, there are... Saudi Arabia funded really radical schools of Islam in Pakistan and Afghanistan. And we've gotten a lot of our terrorists from those places. But those who didn't become terrorists still have very, let's say, backward view of women and very hostile view of non-Muslims. And those people are coming to UK and Europe. And when they do, they're the type to chant in McDonald's. And, those have no interest in integrating altogether. They're violent from poor, violent... from somewhere in the history of violence, and they're indoctrinated to hate us. So there is one group that's ultra dangerous. These are the people that are driving cars consistently into Christmas markets in Germany. It's gone so bad that Christmas markets need to be canceled because so many cars and trucks have been driven into families that are just going to the Christmas market in Germany. That is what the destruction of European values annoys me the most is when I hear about a Christmas market in Germany that's closed because they're afraid of cars being rammed into people. That is Europe's culture being destroyed by foreign invaders.
Men ugly as shit, but they also cover them from head to toe with sheets. They can't drink, they can't read, they can't play music, they can't listen to music. How the do you think these people were going to turn out? You indoctrinate a child with Islamism, with the Muslim faith, they're going to turn out... I can only imagine the futility, like the despair.
There are different versions of Islam, just like there are different versions of Christianity. Problem is, Monroe here, he's had a lot of exposure to the worst of Islam. courtesy of leftists that let the worst of the worst into the Europe.
Despair that these parents are feeling that there's nothing they can do to stop this from happening again. Yes, he's been placed into a secure forensic psychiatric hospital after investigators said there are indicators he suffers from mental illness. How many times have we read this? The Afghan migrant that just murdered Wayne Broadhurst. It's the same word. It's the same wordage, isn't it? It's the same description. Exactly the same. Oh, he's got mental issues. How are we letting so many unvetted migrants into the country? If so many of them that are coming over.
If they're coming illegally, then of course all of them are unvetted. Then that's the problem with illegal immigration is there's no vetting process whatsoever. You could have a serial killer that's running from the law back in his home country. Yeah, he comes into the United States and then he's protected in sanctuary cities, and because he's non-white and illegal, he's giving preferential treatment in the justice system. In these, that's how you have some individuals that have committed multiple felonies before they end up eventually killing someone. That's a story that plays out again and again in the United States. But getting off topic, we're about the UK today.
Seem to have a consistent affliction of mental illness. Why are we not checking this? When are they going to figure out that Islamism is a mental illness? When are they going to figure that out? Again, it's the exact same.
Yeah, getting to the point. This is that there's significant amount of people in UK that, machete wielders on the streets, people getting stabbed. Get rid of all Islam evil, and I don't think there should be. I don't want Christianity erased from Europe. I don't want European culture erased. So I'm there. I know that not all Islam is evil, but I do know that there are some really extremist versions of Islam, and so a lot of them are in Europe and have been imported into Europe, and it's a disaster. We need mass deportations.
Phrasing. He suffers from mental illness that may have impaired his criminal responsibility. So, yeah, he's allowed in the country. He's allowed to go insane, right? This brown clown gets to go out with a knife and just stab someone to death. And then the country that he did it in, the government, will see him as not fully criminally responsible for his actions. Do you know if they did that in Afghanistan, if they did this in Pakistan, if they did this in Lebanon?
They'd just be killed because there's none of that bullshit. Yes, obviously, they're not right in the head if they go around stabbing people. But you need to protect the public. You can't have the people that those who go around stabbing people in public. So don't give them psychiatric care and release them on the streets. You just put them behind bars, and once that's finished, you deport them.
Lebanon or Yemen or any of these other places, they'd be hanged. They'd be killed by the state. They'd be like, and they'd hang them from a tree. Over here, what do? We baby them. Oh, we put them through the psychiatric process. We need to figure out, let's ponder this brown clown. Let me ponder him for a bit. Allow me to ponder the brown clown. What's going on inside that dome of yours? Because me as a white person could never do that. So there must be something going on in your brain. No, they're just culturally There's nothing you can do to fix it. There's not something in there that we don't understand. That's just the culture. Don't ponder that is just them. I need to find out why this brown clown randomly plunged a knife into this random guy for no reason whatsoever. There must be something going on inside his brain. Actually, it's the complete opposite, actually. These low IQ dipshit live their lives in like 10-minute increments. They have no idea how to think, right? They don't think to themselves, oh, actually, if I immediately act upon this violent urge that I have, I'll go to prison and there's...
That's just poverty. That's just the way poverty works. Anyone who lives in abject poverty only thinks 10 minutes ahead of time. That's why you have violence in every slums, out of control violence in every slums.
There's no more freedom then.
And spoiler, the people coming into to Europe for free stuff are dirt poor and coming from war-torn, violent areas.
Like that. They just think, this will be good right now. This will be good right now. This will be good right now. That's what they think. They just impulsively do stuff. They're like, oh, this is super fun being arrested. Oh, what the fuck? Cool. So these parents have lost their son, their smart, educated son, their hardworking son, who was just going out shopping and was looking forward to the rest of his life of being...
Yeah, it's because we've imported the third world. You become the third world.
A historian. He's randomly, unprovoked, killed, murdered, stabbed to death, savagely, violently, for absolutely no reason. Like he's living in a war-torn country, but he's not. He's actually just living in Germany. And the parents
Well, if you import millions of people from war-torn countries, you're living in a war-torn country.
hoping for some sort of regime change where all of these bioweapons go home. Meanwhile, the court is even deciding if they should hold this guy accountable. Hell, the parents are like, right, let's make sure this never happens again. What can we do? Let's stop brainstorming. The court, the justice system is like, right, well, you guys are thinking about that. We're sort of questioning whether or not we should even hold this guy accountable for what he just did. Insane! Like, what do you mean? He woke up and was like, well, I'm gonna get the knife and just head into town and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Gets the knife, puts it in his jacket like they all do, and he just heads out into town, waiting for the first guy that catches his eye. A colorful t-shirt, a funny hairdo, a weird walk, a tattoo, something that catches their attention. Like a animal. Waited for it, boom, stabbed him to death for absolutely no reason, and then runs away because, again, they live their lives in 10-minute increments. They don't think about what's happening after the murder. They don't think about that. It's exactly the same thing as that Carmelo Anthony shit. He just wanted to stab a kid, right? That's that murderous intent that they're all born with. He just wanted to kill someone. He didn't think what would happen after.
Born with. Yeah, see? That, if you're a leftist watching this, you're pro-migration, everything, migrants are great, guy, this is what you're creating. You're creating a generation of people like this, and these people will be in charge of the UK in the future. I guarantee you that. And you are doing it. What happens to non-ethnic people, not ethnically British people in the UK when these guys take power? That's on you. You allowed the worst of the worst come in, stab, murder, rape, and you ignored it. You let it happen in other areas. You lived in safe place, and you brought in migrants and say, "Oh, it's great to hear," and let others in the UK deal with the machete violence on the streets, and you've radicalized a huge portion of the UK and the rest of Europe. And don't be surprised when the radicals, the people you have radicalized, get into power, and then they start a final solution to what they see as a problem. And hopefully that final solution is deportations on a massive scale. If we're lucky, that'll be the final solution they turn to.
After that, so they do it, and they're like, yeah! Oh, shit. Oh, that's right. The police. And this is going to happen again. And it did. Actually, right here. She's also dead. That's right. Another blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl. We've got another Anglo-Saxon woman dead. Dead, actually. Pretty sure. Her name was Liana. She was 16 years old.
Yeah, you didn't think this was just going to be a video about one person killed, right? Two more people, two more victims of diversity is the title of this video. Not one.
A Ukrainian refugee living in Germany again. She was walking home from her apprenticeship, right? Another educated, smart, white person. She was walking home from her apprenticeship when a migrant began sexually harassing her. Terrified, Liana called her grandfather for help, telling him that a migrant was chasing her and sexually assaulting her. Her grandfather heard her scream. Then silence. He never saw her again. Authorities later told her parents she had been hit by a train. Suicide. Case closed. It looked like a cover-up, but her family refused to give up. With strong pressure from the AFD demanding a real investigation, the truth finally emerged. Liana was murdered. She was deliberately pushed onto the tracks by an Iraqi migrant. The man was identified and arrested. The outrage didn't stop there. He had an active deportation order.
Do you see what I mean? It's been covered up. It was covered up. They weren't even going to arrest her killer. They were going to try to pretend she was just, hit by a train and nothing there anymore and not investigate anything. The entire establishment of Europe is covering up crimes like this on a massive scale. And that's what's radicalizing people like Jake Monroe, who's like, no, this young girl who called her grandfather, she didn't commit suicide. She was murdered. They could see the obvious truth.
Since January 2025, that was never carried out. That's a frequent thing as well. That's another frequent reoccurrence, is that they have been ordered to be deported, and they're just still here.
Yes, ordered to be deported, still there, and they kill someone. Again and again and again and again.
Hanging out. Like the Afghan that stabbed Wayne Broadhurst to death. He was allowed to live in the UK for 2 years illegally while they deliberated on his asylum. He was allowed to stay here. It gets worse. Liana's mother knew there would be no real justice, and she was right. A German court has now ruled that the Iraqi migrant who killed her will serve no prison time, claiming he suffers from mental health issues. He will instead stay in a comfortable psychiatric facility paid for by German taxpayers. We are once again...
Clown world. Clown world. This girl, she was assaulted and then murdered. And her killer is not even going to jail. This is why the Jake Monroes of the world are multiplying. Just one case of this, learning about just one case of this, is infuriating. And the Jake Monroes of the world will eventually be in charge in Europe. The crimes of the leftists, blissful ignorance, and blind trust in mainstream media. The fact that a long, long time ago I used to be one of them upsets me.
In a comfortable psychiatric facility paid for by German taxpayers. We are once again being shown a very familiar course of events here. A legal migrant gets to roam around doing whatever the fuck they want. Sees the rarest demographic on earth, a beautiful blonde girl. He gasps, "Oh my god, I've never seen one of these in real life. Let me murder it." They don't know how to control themselves. The lust is too much. They are monsters. In their inability to control themselves, they can murder her. And because to the sophisticated European, the low brain function of an Afghan migrant, of an Iraqi immigrant, is so perplexing, we instead have to try and find out what is actually mentally wrong with these people, because we don't seem to understand.
I think there's something wrong with the psychiatrics that can't see what's wrong. Them, yeah, just act confused and they won't throw you in jail. Is what I'm sure they're told in migrant communities. This is how you have to act to not go in jail. You say this, you say this, you say this, you say you're confused, whatever. And yes, even though you meant to kill her, you fully knew everything, just you get coached like, don't say that. Just say you don't know, you just did it for no reason. And then you will never be put in jail.
To white Europeans, this guy is having some real mental problems. It turns out that's actually just them. As a culture, that's just who they are. These are back-to-back stories. The exact same outcome, the same perpetrators, the same victims. Yeah, court records and German media confirm the perpetrator had a rejected asylum application. And again, another schizophrenia diagnosis in Italy, and this was a few weeks ago. In Italy, there was a migrant man, an Afghan, I think maybe Afghan or some sort of Muslim migrant. He drove his car through onto the sidewalk and mowed down a bunch of people and smashed the legs of a white Italian woman. Okay, and they pulled him out of the car. And he was screaming about being detained because he had a knife on him and he was going to continue to knife people further. He got out of his car after mowing down a bunch of people on the sidewalk. And I did a stream about this. If you guys have a membership, you can go watch it. He gets out of his car with a knife after mowing down a bunch of nice white Italian people. He gets out of his car with a knife and intends to continue attacking people. He's then pinned down by police and passersby, and he's because he wants to continue his rampage. In the Italian media, he was then described as having schizophrenia. Now, why the does there seem to be a continuous trend of schizophrenic migrants coming from the Middle East, all acting on their mental health issues by stabbing and massacring people? This is
because war-torn third world countries and the violence there produces a lot of mental instability. And you import a bunch of mentally unstable people, poor and they come from a culture of violence. Yeah, this is the result.
Constant occurrence. It never ends. Migrant comes in, is told to f off. They're like, nah, you don't enforce that, so why should I? They then grab a knife, go into town, stab a couple of people. European government are just kind of like, wow, this guy's like f***ed up in the head or some shit. Yeah, comparative to white people, it might seem like he's psychotic. That's actually just them. That's how they are. If you go to the Middle East, they're all like that. That's why their law is, if you do something stupid, we will kill you, because violence is the only thing they understand. If you go to the Middle East,
the stable ones, the stable people in Afghanistan, they're not the ones running away to Europe. The person willing to come in illegally and just get free shit. You have talked about someone who's entitled. You need a certain type of person just to do that. Someone who feels like they're entitled to shit without work. You need basically a trash type of person to begin with. So you add to that another filter. So you have someone from a complete poverty, from a war-stricken third world country that's probably emotionally scarred, whatever. Yeah, then on top of that, add the filter. This is someone willing to just go into a country that isn't theirs and just get free shit that they didn't work for, and they don't feel bad about living off other people's tax. So, yeah. So you add that mentality, that type of person. You're dealing with someone who goes off and stabs people. That's what you're dealing with.
least their laws are, if you do any of this shit that you're doing in Europe, we will sling you over a tree branch and you'll be hanged. You'll be shot. You'll be stabbed. You'll be stoned to death. Prison for life. In a sweltering hot, sweaty...
You talk to people from Pakistan or from any of these places, and they see what the UK, how they treat criminals. They're like, are you guys insane? We put these people to death. Yeah, they'd literally be killed. If they stab a person in the middle of the street, yeah, death. But no.
Prison, where you'll be beaten, hard labor, all this kind of shit, right? The only thing they understand is violence in return. So that's why they don't do it. That's also why they're coming here, because we don't have that. We allow them to get away with everything. They get 3 or 4 square meals a day in these psychiatric hospitals. They get to watch TV. They get a nice comfy bed. So much better than committing crimes in my own country. So much better. I got to... and stab...
Yeah, so, like this guy in Italy ruined dozens of people's lives when he drove that car. Like, some lady lost her legs, probably tons of broken bones, intended to do a lot more harm with his knife. And now he gets out to live his life in luxury. With meals, for like 4 meals a day, people to take care of his every need, waited on. It's not punishment. He got rewarded for massacring white people.
Stab a blonde girl? Wait until the lads back home hear about this. I found a blonde girl and I stabbed her. Yay! They'll be so impressed. There's not a mental health issue. There are plenty of people in the UK. There's a lot of white Europeans that have schizophrenia, and they're not going out with kitchen knives and stabbing people unprovoked.
True.
They're not doing this. Do you know what the defining factor is? Do you know what the difference is? White European with schizophrenia, Middle Eastern guy with schizophrenia. Only one of these two is going to go out for a random massacre. Only one. Yes. No wonder they're coming here, man. I've said this before. Europe is Pleasure Island. It is. It's Pleasure Island. Like, you know, from Pinocchio or whatever.
Because you have leftists that, yeah, they come in, you get free shit, and if you decide to go off the rails, you can live out the rest of your life in luxury in a psychiatric institution and never, you know, actually truly pay for your crimes. But yeah, it's great for anyone who isn't British.
Whether you'll turn into jackasses, except we're the jackasses. You have all of these globalist, Marxist politicians, these leftist morons, been like, yeah, diverse, come on over, culturally enrich us with your really high frequency of schizophrenia and low IQ. IQ so low, it's actually troubling. IQ so low that we put you through our psychiatric...
This is actually true. Average IQ in these third world places are lower. It has to do with you don't have general education, you don't have good nutrition. It affects the mind. Also, psychiatric trauma from war-torn places, seeing people beheaded in front of you, affects the mind. So yes, the places these migrants coming in are low IQ. Just look it up. Average IQ of the places like Somalia, it's like the average IQ, I believe, is 67. That is what happens when you don't have good nutrition and you live in a war-torn, violent third world country.
Processing to figure out what's wrong with you, because there's no way someone is able to live with this lower brain function. There's no way. They're animals. They are opportunistic, predatory animals. They're here for one reason only, and that is to...
Your formative years determine so much of who you are. And you have these like grown men basically coming in. They've been entirely shaped by the third world hellhole that they've come from in a lot of cases. And look at like what Libya's like and the slave markets there. Yes, these places are hellholes. And you bring them into to Europe, and they reproduce the hellhole they came from.
Take over. It's to invade.
Anyway, this is something I felt I should cover. This will be on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Come watch on Kick or Twitch, and I'll see you next video. Bye.